Okay, this meeting is being recorded, and so it will be available for others as they are unable to make the meeting. So that's kind of the update as we're going into the situation for Hurricane Francine. And we will go if let me one more housekeeping note. If you don't mind, please put into the chat your organization and contact information so that we can keep tabs on that. And if we need to let anybody know how to get in touch with you, you have it. So moving on, this next slide deck will be available post the update, but this is the operating picture that I use to kind of keep things going on, and that we know what's happening here in the state. Just 1 second here. Come on, you. Why is it not doing it? All right. Too many things open at the same time. All right. So General Sit Rep, as of yesterday evening, about 6 p.m., there was a declaration signed by Governor Landry. As of this afternoon, there were 38 parish declarations, 3 in progress, and 23 parishes that had no action at this time. That's not to say that they won't declare, but at the time of this snapshot was taken, there were no actions by those states. I'm sorry. As far as safety and security right now, the only the Secretary of Transportation has also done an emergency order. There are no tolls on Highway 1 going towards Grand Isle, and there's currently a waiver for height and weight. And the weight restrictions will not exceed 88,000 pounds. Hours of operation are still in effect as of this update. If that changes, we will make sure that the network knows about it. Current evacuations for parishes. Cameron Parish is a mandatory evacuation. Iberia Parish south of US 90 is optional. Lafourche Parish mandatory outside of the floodgate systems. Plaquemines Parish is optional in all low-lying areas. And Terrebonne Parish has initiated evacuation of Zone 1. Cities and or towns that have issued an evacuation order: the city of Grand Isle, Lafitte, Lafayette Parish in the low-lying areas, that is not mandatory but suggested, and Port Fouchon is a mandatory evacuation. Under food and shelters, there obviously, with us being in pre-storm, there are no pods open at this time, but post-storm, this is where that information will be at. There is one state-run shelter that is opened right at this time, and that is in Plaquemines Parish. It's in the vicinity of Belle Chase. If you need information on that, I can get it to you. Contact me after this update. And right now, there have been 11 parish shelters that have been opened. No casualties reported at this time. There is only one nursing home that I am currently aware of, and if there's anybody from GOSEP that can correct me on this, but as of right now, there's only one nursing home, and that was in Nunez, in Northern Vermilion Parish, that was evacuated. It is highly likely that more are going on. They just not have been reported when this snapshot was taken. On water systems, we do not have any reports of potable water or sewer systems that have any issues at this time. Under power, the electrical grid was good as of the snapshot taken. EMACs have been sent out by all of the electrical providers. Responding states include Florida, Kentucky, Ohio, Texas, and West Virginia. Under fuel, we are continuously coordinating with the fuel sector and the convenience store network to ensure that fuel is available across any evacuation areas and along the interstate network. No, the emergency fuel contract for statewide services has not been implemented at this time. It is likely to go into effect starting tomorrow as we transition into response. But as of this time, the statewide fueling network has not been activated. On public communications, the L1 system is reporting full capabilities. The statewide communication network will be augmented by the ARES system, the amateur radio emergency service system, starting tomorrow morning. And none of the commercial wireless carriers are reporting any issues as is the time of this snapshot. The only only transportation network that has been affected at this time that we know of is the Lafourche Parish is closing down their flood protection system, and all of the road network that is affected by that will be closed. I have not at this time got any any advisories of whether that New Orleans is going to close their flood protection system. I think it's probably highly likely with the jog to the east. Especially if there's any further continuation of movement to the east, it is highly likely that that network will be closed and all of the attached ground transportation networks will be affected. And so next steps, tomorrow afternoon, approximately 1200, we will go into hunker down mode at the BEOC. We will continue to provide updates as necessary, but we will not do a pre-storm coordination call tomorrow because it will be in the storm. And then we will resume coordination calls on Thursday, but they will be post-storm, and then we'll be able to start reporting any concerns or damages that are reported. So that next call will be at 12 on the 12th at 1500. So is there a GoSep rep on? Nope. Okay. All right. So I was just trying to make sure I didn't catch anything. Obviously, I'm sure you can understand they're pretty busy going around the horn. So going to our next slide here. Are there any questions from the safety and security lifeline? Any businesses or interests that have concerns in that area? All right, food, shelter, and water. Okay. Health and medical. Okay. Are there any concerns from anyone that is on this line? Please identify yourself and remember this is the business EOC provides your not really your, and I hate to use the haha term, but your lifeline to the UCG and the governor's office. If there's anything that we need to bring up at that level, you can send it up through us, and we will make sure that it gets to the appropriate state agency for some type of determination. No may be an answer, but we will try our best to not get no's as answers.
Hey, Jim, it's Lee Seiler with Walmart. Thank you for sharing all the information that you have. I know it's a moving situation at the current time. I did see that there are other states on the line with us. One question that we had was with weight measures and hours restrictions. We've had a couple drivers having trouble crossing state lines. So I know that in Louisiana, you guys have taken action on that. Any assistance with drivers coming in from other areas?
Hey, Lee, if you will send me that information following this, I'll get with that. I know I saw Todd was on from Mississippi, and I talked to Texas earlier this morning, Randy over in Texas, and we all have those mutual aid agreements. And I'm sure as soon as I give those cats a call that we'll be able to get something resolved on that, Lee. Thank you for bringing it up. But we'll see what we get. Yep.
Thank you.
Anybody else out there that has any questions or concerns?
Hi, Jim. This is Brittany with Cherokee Services in Lake Charles, Louisiana.
Yes, ma'am.
And I've got several customers in Harvey, and I've got transport loads, full truckers of fuel. And they're telling me that tonight at 7, the floodgates around Harvey are going to be closed and they can't take any more fuel. But I know
Okay.
you already said you're not too sure.
I had not heard that when we put the information together for this. Um, is that something that do you have deliveries that are supposed to come after the gates were closed?
Yes, so I provide emergency fuel, and
Okay.
Boomtown Casino is one of our largest, and they need
Okay.
him. So they're trying to, I don't know where they got their information from, but they're telling me that they've heard the floodgates are gonna be closed at 7 and they can't take any more fuel, but I haven't seen that anywhere. So
Okay. Brittany, I've taken that down as a note. And did you put your contact information in the chat?
I did.
Okay, so the team will start running this to ground, and somebody will get an answer back to you this afternoon. Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions or concerns that are out there?
Jim, it's Lee again. Sorry to hit you on
Nope.
two of these, and I know that we're not even at landfall yet, but thinking about getting repair crews into the area post the landfall. Are you guys going to require any credentialing or anything like that that we need to be getting into the hands of our folks prior to landfall so that they can get back into the area
Yeah.
afterwards?
No, that's a great question, Lee, and this is for everybody that's out there. When you're responding post storm, um, the local law enforcement and political subdivisions are the determining factor on who is allowed back into their areas. There is no state coordinating agency. So, Lee, unfortunately, what I can tell you is that if you're going to somewhere in Terrebonne or Lafourche, you just have to contact those officials, whoever the lead law enforcement agency there is. It might be the sheriff's office or it might be the local PD. If you're having problems, please contact us and we will coordinate that with GoSep Ops and state police. But unfortunately, there's no state agency that coordinates all of that. It's all handled at the individual parish level.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions or concerns? All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time. For those of you
Hey,
who are in the
hey,
state,
Jim. I say
yeah,
Jim. Yeah, Jeff Mahler with the Association of American Railroads. If people care, I can provide a quick update on the floodgates at New Orleans, or maybe we don't need that. Just let me know.
absolutely. That's great update, Jeff. Thank you.
Okay, let me get my screen up here. I'm not displaying anything. I just got some notes to read here.
Okay.
Um, right now, they've rolled back the closure to start closing at 6 p.m. local time instead of having them all closed at 6 p.m. So that gives a little bit more window. There's a couple more trains to run. Had a good collaboration with the flood control district and the railroads on the phone, and they're going to be strategic on which gates they close first. There are a number that have already closed and some others that can close, but there's a couple of more trains to run, namely at the Industrial Canal or the Almonaster Bridge area. So that'll be the last gate they close to let those trains flush out. So that's it in a nutshell. The railroads will have another call tomorrow at 9 o'clock to just discuss the complete shutdown. And then they'll have another call Thursday at 9 o'clock to discuss the planned reopening. I'll mention too that starting about this a couple hours before the closures, they're going to start, quote, tying up the cross gates. That means to secure the fiberglass arms so they don't fly around and break off, which will really slow down the train traffic because the crews will have to stop at each crossing and make sure there's no vehicles before they continue. So, we're already in slow mode. And as I say, there's been traffic repositioned. So it'll be, we start up Thursday, but it won't be back to normal for a couple of days. That's it.
Jeff, thank you very much for the update. We really do appreciate it. And Miss Brittany, we're still going to chase this down because I don't know that that's going to answer your specific questions getting into your area. But that is a great update that Jeff provided for us. I'm sure we'll be able to find this out very quickly and get you something turned around. And then that way you can coordinate with your folks and possibly we'll get you connected with the who's controlling the lock or the gates in your area. And if you know a time that the delivery is going to be there, we can get that all worked out.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, Mala here again, something to be aware of is that not all flood sills are the same. In other words, there's a couple of gates west of New Orleans, which are actually going to be in a worse part of the storm, but the sill of the gates is high enough that they believe the flood surge won't affect them. So for now, some of the gates are not going to be closed. That's it.
Right, right. I'm tracking, Jeff. Thank you very much. And that's all great points. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you're in the state, yep.
Hey, Jim, I'm sorry. I just have one quick question. Nick Elwell, Burlington Stores. I was wondering about sheltering. Is there a resource that lists all of the available shelters? I'm looking to make sure that my associates have a resource for, taking up shelter if they need to.
Okay. I'm not, I know that where to find it, but I think what I see is is not on the public side. It's on behind the firewall, as they say.
Okay.
Nick, I would have that down and I'll chase that down. I know there's probably an answer that's out there. I can't tell it to you off the top of my head.
No worries. Thank you very much.
Yep. Got it. Thank you. Any other questions or concerns? All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you're in the state, we're going to be going into hunker down mode here very, very shortly. Wish everyone the best of luck. I hope this really turns into a great big nothing burger. But if you're in the crosshairs of this thing, our thoughts and prayers are with you from the BEOC. I have nothing else. This is Jim Williams signing off. Thank you.